I'm David Chambers. I'm a men's coach and a men's dating, relationship, and intimacy coach. And I've been working with men for over 10 years, guiding to more communicative dating lives, more profound sex lives, and just more connected relationships. So, next, I'm going to talk about the importance of presence and also why it's so important for sex and intimacy. One of the ways in which we sometimes don't feel safe with people, whether that's sexually or in our everyday life, is when we feel that they're not present with us. And we feel that their mind is somewhere else, or they're even dissociated, right? They're not here in this present moment with us. We can't feel them. We can see that maybe they're distracted, or we even sense that they are flooded with their emotions. Like one of the ways in which I think commonly occurs that harm happens in sexual situations is where someone is overcome by their own lust and they're no longer present with the person they're with. So that occurs when we are feeling so much sexual energy and sexual drive and desire, maybe for the person we're with, and we are completely lost in this desire, the emotion that is flooding our minds and our bodies, but we're not in touch with what the other person's experience is. And this creates situations, as you can imagine, that can feel very unsafe for people. So the reason why presence is so important when it comes to sex is actually so we can connect more deeply with each other and feel each other more deeply and have more beautiful and profound experiences. Presence is one of the most important things. Many of the practices are just simply to cultivate deeper presence of ourselves, of the present moment and the person we're with. Whether that's practices like eye gazing, whether that's practices like meditation, or even practices of yoga, is to deepen our ability to be present, even in times where we have high states of emotions, whether that's lust, whether that's frustration or anger, right? Allowing us to stay present and connected to this moment and the person we're with. One of the ways in which our presence is lost is overthinking. And I know this is a very common one for a lot of men who are maybe they're with a new partner, or they're feeling fearful or anxious or worried about sex with a partner. But we start thinking about something else. We start strategizing maybe about what has to happen next, or if we're doing things right, or if we're doing things wrong, or what we should be doing, or how things should be looking. And we start getting out of our bodies into our minds. So one of the things that's really important for us is to come back to the moment, come back to our sensations, come back to the feel of our hands, maybe on our partner's body, or come back to the sensation of us being touched instead of us being carried away by our thoughts. Because when we're in our thoughts, we're not fully with the person we're with, right? We're not connected to what is their experiences of this present moment. And that's where the real magic is when we're deeply present with each other. So one of the ways which we can bring ourselves back to presence, as I said, is through touch. And it's why slow touch is so important, because when we touch slowly, it brings us into presence. When we touch quickly, we're not really there. We're not really feeling that movement. And it's why slow touch is so beautiful and is so central and so connecting, because we're present with each other. So if you find yourself overthinking, losing presence when you're with your partner having sex, is slow down. The first thing you do is slow down your touch. Another thing you can do is slow down your breathing. Just simply slowing down your breath, inhaling for 4 through the nose and exhaling for 8 will slow things down. And this is why one of the stages of tantric sex is to just sit in front of each other and eye gaze and breathe together. It's because it slows us down. It brings us into deeper connection. And coincidentally, the next part I'm talking about is eye contact. When we can look someone dead in the eye and be with them, breathe with them, be slow with them in our movements, they feel us as being deeply present with them. And I know that sometimes this is uncomfortable for some of you, right? You may feel like this intense eye contact to be very intense and difficult, to feel uncomfortable. And it's worth investigating that. Why is it that you find this eye contact with someone that's intense? Is maybe a practice you can bring with your partner, just sitting in front of each other, lovingly gazing into each other's eyes for a couple of minutes, maybe for 5 minutes, or even up to 20, 25 minutes. It can be a really beautiful practice of dropping into this moment with the person in front of you. and practicing presence as in a co-regulated way, two people looking at each other. And these are some wonderful practices you can bring in to deepen your experience of presence. And if you struggle with eye contact, a lovely way for you to start is to do it with yourself in the mirror for a minute. Maybe start practicing on doing 1 minute in front of the mirror each morning, moving up to 2, 3, 5 minutes to get used to just looking in your own eyes and being comfortable with that. Because often we find looking in other people's eyes is some way that it's going to be a threat or there's going to be some sort of attack. And it's about practicing, learning that actually being in front of someone else is a safe space to be, it's a safe place to be, and that you can be at ease and relaxation when you do that. So practicing with yourself can be a beautiful way to start practicing being in deep presence.